going to pull up and go into the SexLab MCM menu. So I can show you where, with the upcoming tutorial, where to look for tags. Let's bring this up. Voice and effects is a different thing. You can set the different voices you want used when sex happens, or creatures, or whatever you want, if you got creatures installed and everything else. But what we're really going to go to, animation settings. This is where mine are. If you've never used this, someone had asked about this, this is where mine are set. If you want to look at this and set your own to the same thing, victim redress and all these other ones. Clear the high heels. Some of these can cause crash the desktop, especially with like this one you should disable. Even actor's height. I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly 100% what the menu settings are in SexLab, all of them, because I use what I need and that's it. So we go to animations. You can see all the different animations here, that a lot of them are in SexLab. But if you hover over any of the animations, you can see down below, well, when I pull my mouse on it, you can't. If you look right down the bottom of the screen, you can see the different tags. So in the script, you'll see an area, in the code that I give you, you'll see an area where the tag can go in, and I will circle that in the video. So where you can change, you can use the same code I'm giving you and change that tag in there to do a different animation. So once you're getting ready to go into the creation kit to use SexLab in your mod, you got to make sure you have SexLab installed and all its requirements. You need SKSE, you need some of the animations. Some animations come with SexLab. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You can use a string or anything. Right now there's going to be basics of getting SexLab to work. So we're going to start here. What you should have when you open it up, at least Skyrim ESM and SexLab. Possibly update ESM. I'm not sure what SexLab says you need now, but that SexLab ESM needs to be a master file. So I'm going to go in. I already got mine loaded up in Dirtyborn. In Dirtyborn, I use SexLab, but that is going to change. There's still going to be a SexLab version in the 2025 release. There's also going to be a OSTEM version. It's very superior to SexLab. And that's not knocking SexLab. It's an amazing program for its time. But OSTEM went far beyond. You can control when you switch positions and everything else a lot better. So in the version on Dirtyborn's release, Dirtyborn 2025, there will be the SexLab version. That'll be the first release. Then there will be a clean version that'll go fade to black for people who don't want to see the sex in the game. Then there will be an OSTEM version, and that'll be the version I'll be using myself. Once I get it switched to OSTEM, from there on out, any updates are going to be OSTEM. I'm not going back to SexLab because OSTEM is just a far better program. And again, that's not knocking SexLab at all. That's just the reality. So when you got it loaded up, what I do is all the sex I have it calls for, I put in a quest called Handler. So this is SSS Handler. You can see all the different ones here. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to open up a new one just to show you how this is done. I'm trying to keep this as clean as I can for YouTube, so please keep that in mind. But this is how this is going to work. So we're going to create a new one from here. And we'll call this, I'm just going to open up a new one here. We'll call it dog. I go to Doggo 1. And there it is here. So one thing I did notice is coming into it, like, we'll just put in here, bend over. And then on this, if you don't want to put a voice file that they lead to before they start, I like to give it a little bit of time to run through the code and start. So what I usually put is just this. And this will have, that'll give the time where they try to say something for a second before it starts, which usually will not be seen in game unless you have, I'm not quite sure, I haven't quite understood why people, I guess if you can't hear, I understand why people would have the dialogue up. But on a fully voiced mod, it really drove me crazy how people always complaining how one word was off or they saw this when you're just listening. Again, my own personal preference, but that's why when people said, oh, this word was spelled wrong, I really didn't jump on it at the time because it didn't matter. It was voiced. But anyways, I'm just rambling now. So we want to start this one. Go into here. And we're going to a semicolon and name it dog. Let's just open up the script. Hit compile. And then go to advance. Rename. I'm going to end up removing this when I'm done. Obviously, I can't show this work on YouTube. I know it works because this mod's been out for 4 years, so I know how this whole thing works. And underscore tutor. That's what we're going to call the script in this one, because this one is going to be removed for me. Then you want to close this back out. Let it create the script in the folders. Now open it back up. Go to here, right click, edit source, and in the source, at the very bottom below everything else, you want this line. And I am going to put all the lines in the code in the description. So from here, hit file, save it. There you go. Close that out. Right click in here and hit properties. You're going to see SexLab in here. That will always come up. Just hit yes to all. That's okay. That's always going to do that. Well, it won't if you're putting multiple in the first time. Now hit SexLab Quest Framework. And click OK. Now we get your property in. Close that back out for a second to make sure everything sets into the code. And then from there, we're going to add a little bit more. Quite a bit of stuff, actually. Down one when you put that, and this is the code that's going to go in. I'm going to put this in the description so you can copy and paste it. Now this shows the sex actor. This will all go into the code when it goes. That's a lot of it is in what sex actor 2 Game.GetPlayer, so that's with the player. Now if you went in and the positions were wrong, let's say you wanted the other person, instead of using the MCM menu in SexLab to swap positions every time this code is called for, you would swap these two. Game.GetPlayer would go up to akSpeaker, and the akSpeaker would come down to here. Now, in this, you have tags in the animations that you loaded in SexLab. Obviously, DoggyStyle is one, but you can look through the MCM menu to see the tags if you need to. So this one's going to be DoggyStyle. If you put kissing, whatever you put, it's going to call for that tag in animation. But again, this is all copy and paste for you down below. From here, you should hit compile. If it's not working for you in the creation kit, then either you haven't unpacked your scripts in the game, and if you've been following these tutorials, you most likely have them unpacked, or you don't have SexLab in, but you should if all this come up. It has to for you to put it as a master file. Click OK out of here. And that made that code. Now, over here, I'm going to go back to dog. You can see this top level. That means if you went into game on top level, that every NPC in the game will show bend over, and you click that and we'll go to the sexual animation. Mine, I changed to, if you look at something like this, I changed to normal. That means it's coming off a different dialogue, and it leads to this. So I will show you what I mean by that. So if I go back into, I already showed a video of trenching loved ones. You can also make these on a string. Make it through a string where you type in a code and it will call that every time. There are different, I'm just doing the basics right now of what is done. So you can see on this one here, that's where I had it calls to this, and it goes to get kissed. That's what I mean by you can call it from other dialogue in a quest. You can repeatedly use that so you don't have to put the same code in each time down here and just make your mod script heavy. So going back into handler, I'll go over that again. So I got two different kiss ones. So one if they approach you, one if you approach them. This one is get kissed, and she says, come here. So that dialogue would lead to this one, which this is in a string. But either way, if I put the other code in and had kiss in there, it'll still do the same thing. And it'll come here, and it'll go to that. That way, you can tie this into other dialogue, and you don't have to put the same script in every time you want sex to happen in the game. And that's the basics of it. I have it. I've had it in Dirty Bone now for 3.5 years. It works great. Like I said, SexLab is a great program, but like everything, it gets improved on with time. And if you're going to start with anything, I would start with OSTIM. And I release a tutorial on doing that once I swap this to OSTIM. Right now, until I get all the code from SexLab out of here and I switch to the other version, then I'll do an OSTIM one. Then I'll do another tutorial on fade to black, how to do the fade to black and come back with a timer. Anyways, guys, I hope this helped. Enjoy playing around with this and learning how to do this. It's a lot of fun. Once you can learn how to do it, you start getting ideas in your head, and you'll start moving forward on different things you want to do. I appreciate you guys. Hope you have a great day.